Hi, and welcome into another Terraform video. So today we will talk about where we can store Terraform state and how we can log this state. So we will specifically do it in AWS and create a specific bucket for that where our state will be stored. So we will move it out from our local environment and from our local disk. And we will also implement a very popular locking mechanism using DynamoDB. So let's hop into the VS Code and work on that. All right, so we are back in our VS Code project. I will make it a little bit bigger for you. And actually, we will not care about the files today like Elastic Load Balancer, variables, VPCs, and so on. We will hop into the provider file and talk about it. So in this Terraform block, we will declare a backend. And here we want to do it as mentioned in the intro. We will use S3 bucket to store it. So the first thing we need to do is actually to create this bucket. So we will do resource AWS S3 bucket, and here we will call it, let's say, Terraform state, and we will call it, the bucket will be called, let's say, Terraform state briefly dev, and we will also enable versioning here. So we will do versioning to enabled equals true. So this is the first thing we need to do regarding the bucket. And now here we will create a clause. We will create a clause for a backend, which will be called S3. And here we will just put the bucket name, the region, and the key. So key will be just how it will be named there, so you can prefix that and do whatever you like with it also. So this is the part of the backend. How it helps us. So the first thing is that it's taken from our local environment to the cloud. So actually, more than just us can work on that. We can work as a team on that. We have a versioning enabled. So it's another layer of protection that we can version this state. And now we will talk about log. So if you work in a more than one DevOps environment, you probably want to log the Terraform state file so that two persons cannot, let's say, apply a state in the same time, so that it doesn't cause some confusion and some drifts. So this we will usually do using DynamoDB, and we will just create a very basic Dynamo table with a hash and a key of log ID, and in there will be stored our log. So we will do resource, we will call it AWS DynamoDB. Copilot is already showing us something here, so let's do it, and actually everything will be fine here. So it's just a resource of AWS DynamoDB table called Terraform state log. We are naming this table, so I will add briefly dev maybe here, just for the sake of the argument. And here the billing mode, it's a very popular one, paper request. We don't need to, let's say, provision a throughput. And here just the hash key will be set on log ID, and the only attribute key value pair will be log ID of a string. And at the end here, in this backend S3, we will add two more details. So we will encrypt that, and we will put a reference to this table. So we will do a DynamoDB table to this Terraform state log briefly.dev, and we will enable encryption on that. Encrypt to true. All right. And now, first thing we need to do, we actually need to firstly spin up those resources. So we will comment this for a moment. we did everything we wanted, but firstly, we will do Terraform apply to just create this bucket and this DynamoDB table. And now let's uncomment that and let's do Terraform init so we can reprocess our backend. Okay, do you want to copy existing state to the new backend? Yes, please. We have some data, so let's copy it there. And it's done. Our Terraform right now will be having a state in AWS S3, and then we will also have a locking mechanism. So let's maybe hop into AWS for a moment and see how it looks like in the bucket. All right, so we are logged into our console, and let's navigate to S3 so we can see those resources. We will see here that we have this Terraform state briefly dev bucket, and here we have a Terraform tf state file, and then let's navigate just for a very brief moment to DynamoDB, and we will see here that we have a table of Terraform state log, and here our state will be written. So that's generally all for today. Hope you learned something new, and see ya in another one.